heading to Vegas with
Reno.
rather.
The Vegas story is different.
With a fellow, if I'm correct, would bet you on whether or not the sun will come up.
Yes.
In Vegas with some nothing but upstanding ladies.
They actually were.
I'm sure they were great. I'm sure they were terrific. And so
the girl I'm talking to was like, she was all about me. Like everything I was telling her, all the stories I was telling her, which may or may not have been true, she was buying it. Yeah. Hook, line, and sinker. Yeah. So she's like, oh my God, you guys are so cool. Let's hang out. Let's go back. We've got a fully stocked bar at the suite. And I'm like, let's go. Music. So we cash out and we go back to the room. And, I told her, I'm like, hey, we're staying at the other end of the strip. Like, she's like, oh, no. This suite was awesome. It was 2 stories. Mm-hmm. It like somebody's daddy paid for this suite. It had like 3 or 4 bedrooms. It was like Pimp Daddy marble, big view of the city. And she's like, oh no, there's couches to crash on. And I'm like, sweet. And I told my boys, I'm like, look, we got a place to stay. We are good to go. So we get back to the suite and we're hanging out. And her 2 friends kept giving me the stink eye all night. And it's getting late. And so everybody starts to kind of go to their own separate places. And, I'm playing the role. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to.
Was it like the Love Shack? Was it
really.
It just like everybody's going to go pass out right now?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Okay. And so I'm like, all right, I'm kind of tired. I'm going to go lay on the couch over here. And she was like, oh, no, you're coming in my room. I'm like, no. She's like, pulls me in the room. And my friends were like, okay. I'm like, all right, y'all, see you later. So I go in the room with her. And everything's all good. Wake up the next morning. And I walk out into the main area. And those 2 fools are gone.
And by the way, not that we're trying to get, X-rated. But, we did just glance past like 9 hours worth of material there. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm glad it was all good.
Yeah.
And so the next day, you wake up, there's, what is it? Does the room just smell like piss and other stuff?
Hey, let's not bring R. Kelly into this, all right? So I get up the next morning.
Irish redheads are bone out.
Dude, gone. Right.
By the way, but I this whole time, I don't give a fuck. Fuck it. Only because this whole time I've been like, should I? It'll sound simple. Like, I don't give a fuck. So like this whole time, like, not that I like Vegas, because Vegas is horrible. And maybe that's why. But I feel like I almost feel like I missed out on something, but at the same time, it sounds horrible. And so I don't feel like I missed out on anything at all. So you see that everybody's gone, which, by the way, damn well I'd have never ghosted. I never go.
Yes.
But anyway.
You never leave a man behind.
No, well, unless you're a fucking drunk Irishman that fucking will bet on whether or not the sun will come up.
You go, you knock on the door. Hey, dude, we got to roll. Come on.
Right? But whatever. But whatever. Hey, I recall a time, and this is back in the record store days. Actually, this would be the bookstore day.
The bookstore day, yes.
I'm pretty sure you were still there, but there's a time I forgot my wallet. And, man. But anyhow, continue.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Hey, it took a second to hit you, and then you remembered. Anyhow.
That was a fiasco. Wow.
We're not talking about me.
I've forgotten about that.
We're not talking about me.
Dude, here's the deal. I bet you have never let your wallet 2 feet from you in the rest of your life, have you? You probably have a chain on your wallet after that. Oh, wow. You're like, where's my... No. I'm like, no, you did. You're like, yes, I did. Like, yeah.
But we're not talking about me.
No. You almost had to get a new identity.
About Jamal in Vegas.
You almost had to get a new identity. And just
we're talking about Jamal in Vegas.
All right. So,
shit.
get up the next day, and I walk out, and I'm looking around, and the girl who had been giving me the stink eye the whole time was like, "Your friends left." And
so she was unsatisfied.
No, the friend, not the girl I was talking to.
No, I would no. I assume the girl you would. Of course, she was satisfied.
Yeah. And
I'm saying
the friend, the friend wanted nothing to do with any of us. The friend wanted nothing to do with any of us. She didn't want us to come back to the room. Or
so the Irish redhead charm, no effect on her.
Nothing. Neither one of those guys. So she was like, "Your friends left, and it's probably time for you to go also." I'm like, "All right, time to go."
Well, at that point, why you stick around? I mean, you're already done.
So here's the deal. This is back before cell phones. I had a pager, but this
1-800-MIX-A-LOT.
Dude, this was 97, maybe 98, right?
By the way, sorry, I know. Did you ever call 1-800-MIX-A-LOT?
Absolutely. I keep those nasty thoughts. So the girl I was talking to, I gave her my fake name.
What was your fake name?
And I don't even remember. It was one of my cousins or something. And I gave her my my fake phone number, which my cousin and I had an agreement that if someone called and asked for the fake name, you would play the role.
Oh, wow.
Right? We had an agreement.
Not only an agreement, you had like an actual, like a scenario worked.
Yes, you would play the role.
Which,
So I gave her my phone number. She was like, "Oh, let's keep in touch, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Sure, absolutely. Here's the phone number." Gave her the cousin's phone number, gave her the fake pager number. And remember, my boys and I, we had slept in the car the night before, so we didn't have a hotel. So I had no idea where these guys were.
Wandering about Vegas.
They were in the car, and I had to go and find them. And I'm just like, I had to go and find a payphone so I could call their pager and have them call the payphone back so I could answer. Because remember, the payphones used to have the phone number on them.
Yeah, for sure.
You put the quarter in, you call the pager, you put the number of the payphone, and then you stand there by the payphone, you wait for it to ring. Kids these days know nothing about the struggle.
Oh no! Why aren't you texting me? Yeah.
So, this girl was a psycho. Apparently, as I'm leaving the hotel, she calls my pager number.
Okay.
And then calls my phone number in Portland that I gave her, which was not really my phone number. My cousin answered.
Right.
And forgot.
Right.
He forgets. So I'm walking down the street, and the next thing I know, here comes the girl's friend and another girl, the ones that were giving me the stink eye, chasing me down the street.
And whatever were they saying?
Yelling the fake name that I'd given the girl because they knew the real name. Get back here. I can't believe you lied to our friend. So they're chasing me down. I've always been a big guy. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning in Reno, and it's already 80 degrees and hot.
Yeah.
So I run for about a block before that's all I got. I got a block, right? I got a block. I've been up all night. I've been drinking.
Your football coach would be disappointed.
Fair. So I run about a block, maybe a block and a half, and I stop. And they're
running from some ladies.
Yes. Run about a block and a half, and that's all I got. And they're confronting me. The next thing I know, this girl punches me square in the jaw, and I'm like in shock, like what? Like I'm not gonna hit a girl. She grabs my arm and puts me in a chicken wing behind my back. I thought,
how are you letting this happen? How are you letting this happen?
I wasn't going to hit him.
You are. I know you're not trying to hit him, but you're massive.
It happened.
I mean, all you have to do is say, "No, bitch."
It happened so fast. She grabbed my arm and like
Kung Fu twist.
No, this will all make sense in a minute.
Okay, of course.
My arm goes numb. She puts me in a chicken wing, and she puts her knee in my back and puts me on the ground.
Is this like Ronda Rousey or some shit?
And they both start kicking me in the ribs, kicking me in the face, and they're just beating the snot out of me, right? She still has my arm in the chicken wing while the other girl's like kicking me. And they're just calling me every name in the book. And they want to know my real name and they want to see my ID. And then the girl whips out some handcuffs and handcuffs me. And then the other girl grabs me and they throw me down and they handcuff me behind my back to the fence.
How? Come on, man. Wait. I've been patient. This is official come on, man time. I mean, you are a person that I have been along with as we have like taken people into physical custody. How on earth?
You don't expect it from this girl who's like 5 foot nothing.
Yes, I don't.
Right? It happened so fast. She swung and she hit me in the face, and I was stunned. I'm like, what happened? And the next thing I know, she grabs my arm, she hits some pressure point, my arm goes completely numb. Just 100%.
You ran into like fucking Kill Bill. You ran into Uma Thurman.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened. So she handcuffs me to the fence. They're kicking me and they're screaming at me.
Are you fighting back at all? Or are you just like covering up like...
I'm covering up. I'm like...
Yeah, because I understand, you can't like just... Because one smack... I mean, because let's be honest. I mean, if you would just so much as like try to clear yourself from the chaos, you would be sending hose flying.
Right.
And that would not look good. And that would not look good.
No, not at all.
Just like in sports, it's always the second player. It's always the reaction, Absolutely. Right?
So I'm sitting there in this open lot, handcuffed to a fence, bleeding from the mouth,
as you do,
bleeding from the nose, having trouble breathing. I just got my ass whooped. I just ran a block. A whole block. So I'm sitting there, handcuffed.
This is before you smoke.
And I'm pondering life at this moment. It's one of those moments where, like, you're like, how did I end up here? Like, what bad choices did I make that I find myself in this predicament?
Yeah.
So
wait. Where did the fine ladies go at this point?
Oh, they left. They left me.
They just beat your ass and left.
Yes, left me handcuffed and walked off. So I'm sitting there and I'm kind of pondering life. The next thing I know, a cop car pulls up. And
before the cop car pulls up, as you're sitting there pondering life, handcuffed to a fence, after being beaten by some females.
Yes.
In all that pondering, did you think to yourself, in all the times I hung out with Joe, did this ever happen?
Well, if you had been there, this never would have happened because you wouldn't have left me in the hotel.
Excuse me for a second. Please continue.
All right. So the cop car pulls up. The two cops get out and they walk over to me and they go, "Hey man, do you need some help?" And I'm like, "Nope, I'm just fine." And they are just laughing and they are like, "This is why we love being a police officer in Reno, because I'm sure there's a story and I'm sure we're not going to believe you." And I'm like, all right. So I tell them the story, and they're just dying laughing. They're like, "You got beat up by a girl?" And so I'm telling them, and I'm like, I'm like, "Can I press charges?" And they're like, "We're not pressing charges. Are you kidding me?" So they undo the handcuffs, and they had a little bit of trouble getting me out of the handcuffs. So they finally get me out of the handcuffs, and the guy goes, "Man, can I keep these?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why?" And he showed me the insignia on it, United States of America, Federal Bureau of Investigations. He goes, "You got beat up by an FBI agent, a special agent." The girl that beat me up was a special agent, and she left her like service issued handcuffs.
Wow. All because you nailed her friend.
Yeah. Gave her a fake name, gave her a fake number. Yeah. Yeah. So I let the dude keep them. And yeah, he was like, "These are like FBI." He's like, "These are like good handcuffs. Can I keep them?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I don't want them. What am I going to do with them?" So he was like, I could find out who the FBI agent was. I'm like, I don't ever want to see her again.
Yeah, right.
So he puts me in the back of the cop car, and he goes, "What hotel are you staying at?" And I'm like, "I'm not staying at a hotel. We were sleeping in the car until we met those girls, and they put us up in the hotel." And these guys are just laughing, and they're on the radio, and they're telling everybody about it. And I'm sitting in the back of the cop car, bloody, dirty, embarrassed. And I'm like, they're like, "Well, what kind of car are you in?" I'm like, "We were in a rental car. I think it was a Toyota." And they're like, "Oh, there's not 100,000 Toyotas in this town." So they're driving me around. And after about 20 minutes, we see the car parked outside of a restaurant.
No.
And he goes, "Wait here." And he's like, "I'm going to go in and see if your friends are in there." So I'm not sure what he says to my friends, but they come out, and I'm sitting in the back of the car, and they're like,
So who is it at this point? Is this your the ladies, or is this?
No, the ladies are long gone. I've never seen
Okay,
them.
so this is Irish Gambler and Associates.
Yes.
Yes.
So they come out, and I'm telling them what happened, and the cops are just dying laughing. And by this time, 2 other cars pulled up because they wanted to see me and see what happened. And the cop is telling me, he's like, "It happens. This is Reno. It's all good." And he's like, he was like, "Here's the moral of the story." And I'm like, "All right." He goes, "You actually won this situation." I'm like, "How did I win this situation?" He goes, "Those girls still don't know your real name or your real phone number." And I'm like, "I'm a winner. Yes, I'm a winner."